Welcome to 155 podcast about punk songs. My name is Josiah Erg.
Oh, interesting. And I'm Sam Sutherland.
And I'm about to bust in my pants with a freaking orgasm is what I'm about to do right now.
Okay. So confirmed that it's good to come
well,
up
I mean, look, it had to happen.
It can't happen just once. I know you're a multiple orgasms kind of guy. So this week, of course, the reason you're experiencing such pelvis chattering moments is because we are talking about the Ergs' Pray for Rain. There was a lot of ways that we could have concluded Fest Month, the accidentally most depressing month of this podcast existence.
It's really...
Didn't think it was going to go that way.
I've never experienced seasonal affective disorder until this year, actually. I think specifically...
Well, it's just like the opposite of Green May, where Green May just sort of fundamentally deepened my appreciation of something that I've always loved. And this is made, and I don't want to be, I've always like deeply held in contempt people who turn their back on things that they felt really passionately about, like just acted. You and I have talked about this, I think, extensively over our many years. Like just acted like they've always only been into a cool thing. Mm-hmm. And so it's tough for me because I also recognize that the dynamic of this podcast, but then it turns out also the dynamic of the listenership of this podcast, and maybe in many ways the dynamic of the world is telling me that the things that I like as they relate to Fest are not quote unquote cool, and I don't want to feel like I'm cowering in the face of your disbelief. But what we've kind of discovered through this is like there are, and this will come up a little bit in our interview, and I unfortunately think some of the really good stuff might have even happened kind of off mic, but that like the things that make you kind of like clench up a little bit and like wonder if it's like not okay. It's like some of those things are not okay. Mercifully, though, we are ending strong because we are ending with a band that I think in many ways exemplifies the sort of best of Fest.
Oh, nice little rhyme there.
I know, right? And that could have been there's a lot of things we could have done.
In our quest to not be depressed.
As we take the road to the Fest, we are talking about the Ergs' Pray for Rain. Did I already say that? And
then I don't know. But, it's funny. I mean,
how many times can I do it?
our guest this week's child is named Rain, and Rain got a shutout, but we didn't think to... So that's another. We're going to have to.
Well, we did look at spoiler alert. I don't want to let people know who the guest is, but we were talking to the mother of Rain Maida from Our Lady Peace this week.
It's true.
Come Navid.
The maiden of Maida of the Maida.
Wow. We should stop.
Real quick though, back to the point you were making earlier. I literally think that it might be just partly because of now that we are in our late 30s. Somebody did unironically refer to us as being middle-aged in Discord earlier today. It's kind of been fucking me up. But I think they're right because like it actually keeps happening to me lately where things that I still think are really good are now like being roasted. Like, and I know it's been happening for a while, but like the band Phoenix, Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix album is like a thing that people just roast now as if it's like bad or like, I mean that's like
crazy.
That's just like a sick, perfect, beautiful guitar rock record. There's no way that
people roast Listomania. Like Listomania is like a top 500 song.
Yeah, like it's just like
easy.
But that's what's happening nowadays is that the things that we think are great are just either obscure or roast fodder. And so I mean, I don't know. That's and yet we still have not been blocked from using Libsyn and Patreon. So we're going to keep podcasting despite our decreased relevance. The further we get away from Blink-182, the least relevant we are, it seems.
Well, it's interesting to me that Blink-182 ended up being the most relevant thing that we've ever talked about. Somehow Blink, accepting individual songs or lyrics has aged in a really, like, it's not that it's all aged well, but it's aged in a really interesting way. And it's aged in a way that is clearly still relevant to, like, new people. There's no denying the fact that, like, Blink is not just for people our age anymore. Whereas I feel like when it comes to this scene and these bands, it feels very much like they're for people like us who are firmly in the early stages of
death.
Being middle-aged, of death. But in a way that, and the thing that keeps popping into my head, and I probably already said this on the pod, in a way that, like, why don't I feel that way about Taking Back Sunday? Again, I feel like Taking Back Sunday is still aged really well. There was a new Every Time I Die record that came out last week that is fucking awesome, and I feel like Every Time I Die has never been more popular, and I don't think I would have called that around Hot Damn.
I've never heard either of those bands, to be honest. So that's
really,
yeah. I mean, I'm just in my absolute flop era now because I'm just sitting around thinking that the most Christian Pedro the Lion songs are the ones that people should be listening to. So I don't know.
It's good, but I think the Ergs, I feel like we finally kind of hit on something, and there's a lot of things we could have done here. I think like D4 is a pretty obvious one, but there are other.
Yeah, I saw somebody say, "Oh, you're not going to do the D4. It's like Christmas in whatever, or what is it called? Christmas in Ground Zero."
It's Christmas at Ground Zero. There's Panic in the Air. We can dodge the what is it? Dodge the freeway.
Such a classic song. No, they have a song called like October's fucking rockin' time with my buds.
They got an October's fucking rockin' time there, bud song, and it rocks. But this felt like, because that's not even like the D4 song. This is the Erg song, and I think for an era of Fest, this is like, in my mind, like, we said a Trusty Chords is sort of like the Fest anthem, and I still think that's kind of true, but I think the Ergs in a lot of ways represent like the sort of pinnacle of a sort of moment of Fest that things have kind of changed a little bit after that.
This kind of music, when I hear this, I'm like, okay, I would go see this. Like, this is, I actually like hadn't listened to the Ergs for a very, very long time. And then I put this on today, and I think it's fucking great, and I would go see this. Like, I can't believe that this is something that also your people would be into, because it's like so good.
Well,
no offense.
No, it's fine. It's fine. That's the other thing is, like, I feel like I've been like, I'm not trying to be like, I'm not shy and retiring, but just like, it's fine. But ultimately, I think you have to be able to recognize the sort of, negative side of things that you love. And I think the problem is, like, the further I get away from, a lot of this area, like, some of this does, this skeeves me out in a way. There's nothing skeevy about the Ergs, and yet this is a band that, like, when they broke up, they literally played like 2 full sets. So Fest 7, which is sort of part of the great kind of like Ergs, good, like, or the Ergs are basically Kiss, where it's like they broke up and they did this whole final tour, then they played a bunch of shows after the big final show, and then they reunited again like 2 years later, and I mean they're literally playing
like LCD Sound System, basically.
Yeah. Mikey Erg really is. If you gave him like if the Ergs had a sommelier on stage, he could be James Murphy. Unfortunately,
he doesn't look very much like. What's his name? Steve Bannon.
No, yeah, he doesn't have enough Bannon vibe. That's
when you just said something about Fest 7, and then the reason this pod feels like it's taking forever is because you and our guests kind of talked about lore and all of these bands and band members that all sound fictional to me because I never heard of any of them and they all sound fake. I mean, do you think that there's someone who's even more obsessed than you who like could just sit at a bar and talk to you about all the different fests and what year and like know who played what one and everything? Because that is just
because
I'm inventing a guy that I met at that thing people do. Like that's making me upset to think about that guy.
New guy just dropped, but it's like the fest guy. Like this sort of like cataloging it. No, I think in the end, like my relationship to it is still relatively casual. Because even with a band like the Ergs, I fucking objectively think the Ergs rock and that they are good. But this is not like one of my favorite bands. Like the Ergs, if anything, are too good for me. Like I remember we played, Junior Battles played, and I did find the Punk News review of it. I'm pretty sure this was...
Oh, yes, let's see that.
The second ever Junior Battles show was part of the Ergs kind of final tour, and I was like, oh, that's sick, but like I wasn't when they played, I mean, they finished. I do remember the show because they played. First of all, they played a Nils cover.
So you don't even get listed in the title of the review. It doesn't even mention Junior Battles.
No, I know we're quite dissed, but like. Sorry, I do really love that there's no photos. It's just like a stock concert photo. We're like, yeah, that's exactly what the Ergs show at the like.
Everyone in this photo looks like they only exist in stock photos. Also.
Yeah, they're all like these are all like
they're all doing like they're doing Dropbox face.
But like I remember getting this show, and to be honest, this was I think it's sort of funny to me how vaguely punk the first couple of Junior Battle shows were because our first show was we played with Calgary's own Wednesday Night Heroes.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which was like sick, but at that time we hadn't decided on a name.
They're
yet,
from Edmonton, by the way.
So sorry.
I don't. I didn't remember at first, and then once I remembered, I was like. I could let this slide, but I don't want people from Alberta to talk to me. So I just keep. Let's just say
got to be proactive.
Yeah.
The first show that we played, we were still going by the name Younger Strike, which I think is an objectively
wow. Band name. That's really good.
I was the only one. Like in the end, it was like everyone hated it, and I was like, "Younger Strike is so fucking good," and that's what's on the poster for the Wednesday Night Heroes show. But this Ergs show is the first time that Junior Battle is on a poster, and it is sick because it's like I obviously still have it, and I was sort of I was in punk enough to like know that the Ergs were good and it was like a good show for us, but like I didn't really care that much about them. And I feel like such a fucking poser because then as I listen to the Ergs sort of more, you're like, oh my God, this band is so fucking good. But I also never go back and listen to it. And again, I'm worried that they're too good for me. Like I don't deserve the Ergs. But to me, they are one of those bands that sort of sits a little bit in the space between our tastes.
It's true. Like they have, because they seem silly in more of a kind of Weird Al kind of way rather than a like, isn't it so funny to get alcohol poisoning kind of way? And then also they're they seem like kind of pseudo intellectual, like bordering on pretentious, which I think is pretty sick. It's like Ramones core, but also this song, like I was expecting it to be more straightforward Ramones core, but this song has this kind of like forward propulsion that it does feel a little bit slops. Like there's something indie about this too. There's just so many good vibes at once going on here.
Because I think I do think that the members of the Ergs are like very smart. And I think that comes through because they're doing this Ramones core thing. Like they're just like so obviously and publicly indebted to a very specific set of sort of like foundational pop punk bands. The Descendants is like the other like incredibly obvious one, but they don't sound really anything like those bands. Like there's way more.
There's like a slight. I feel like in this song there's like a slight vocal thing that reminded me of the Descendants immediately. But other than that, like yeah, definitely it's just more like.
And the Lovelorn stuff, like the sort of like absolute, like lyrically, I feel like this is very Descendancy. And to be totally honest, I think that's the stuff that I didn't connect with. Because I don't know about you, but like basically like as soon as I like fully like wifed Ashley out, even like before we were married, I like became very disinterested in like Lovelorn music that I hadn't already been attached to as a younger person. Things that are like so explicitly Lovelorn, I was like, I'm good.
But you only like songs that are about like five men touching and sweating on each other and singing along.
True. That's all. The only thing that I cared about. I was like, I just want to hear more songs about touching.
I want a song that's about inhaling my bro's farts in the van for the 2.5 hour drive between cities on this tour that we're going to talk about for the rest of our lives. And that's love, isn't it?
That is love. That is true. That is true love for sure.
I don't know,
but I think the Descendants thing comes up more in the lyrics for me. I think.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've never been much of a lyrics guy. I think I've said this many times. But for me, as long as I don't feel embarrassed by the lyrics, they've already won me over. And then these lyrics, when we talked about this, I think people in the Discord, we keep plugging the Discord. You got to go to patreon.com/155pod. That's called a native ad copy where you're just injecting it in there, and it's just completely seamless. No one never notices. Patreon.com/155pod. Check it out. There's all kinds of goodies in there. But anyway, someone on the Discord, I think a few people were talking about how this is like an incel song and this is incel music and saying that kind of stuff. And when I read the lyrics to this and when I hear them, like, I think there has to be room in the world for there to be a song about a guy who like has a crush on someone and is taking a chance by writing them a silly song and then it not working out and they're bummed about it. Like, is that incel? I don't know.
Well, and that's kind of, I was like, look, the people have talked about the Ergs. I don't know how many amazing new Ergs facts you and I are going to discover here, but I found the incel thing like so interesting because I've seen them brought up in this conversation. It came up on Discord. Like looked up on Twitter. I was like,
it's so twee to me rather than being incel. And everyone knows like, twee people are not predators. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's impossible. They're too nice. Just nice guys. Yeah. When did this become a way? And if you look like all the Ergs incel tweets, like the earliest is in late 2019, and then sort of the Ergs being like an incel band.
Cool looking guy saying that tweet. We don't need to read it as that, but he does have some orgcore vibes to his look, I think, a little bit.
For sure. It's self-effacing, orgcore gentleman. But, like, when did that become... Because, I was looking this up. I was like, okay, so what's the deal with, why are we so obsessed with sort of interrogating, just lovelorn music and putting this, like, incel vibe over it? And I saw that someone else has been on the case as well.
Oh, our boy.
Our boy Finn McKenty beat us to the punch by only a few weeks, really, early September.
Oh my God. This is my dream video. It's 20 minutes long.
Oh my God. Yeah, so for the rest of the Ergs episode, we're actually just going to sit here in silence and learn.
We can just at least play it in the background.
Your home for highlights and my podcast. So if you like this, you want to see more of that.
I love Finn.
There's a link to that
He's in.
Of this video.
Finn's my dog.
Let's get into it.
Here's what my dude.
Finn, you gotta come on the pod, bro. Stop being a wuss.
I can't believe that Finn won't even respond to me. And just in that voice saying horny versus sad, somehow it's very funny to me. So he's like interrogating a sort of.
He has a meme open, but it's like open in Photoshop. Like, did he make this, or does he just?
I think he might have made.
Does he?
I thought we would redo this and maybe look at it a little bit differently.
He's going to do a live Photoshop.
As like the nature of the fan base rather than the bands.
So he's taking the meme and he's punking it up. Because that one had like car seat headrest and non-punk bands in it.
Yeah, he doesn't. And we've all seen his attack on indie video that he made.
Yeah.
Again, on Patreon.com.
He even made it like not fun because the other one was horny, sad, the angry, sad, misogynist, and he just turned that into like.
This is a fucking joke. I'm going to say it again.
I also just want to say for the record, I hate these kind of memes to begin with where it's like a chart, where it's like you feel like you're in the doctor's office. Like, it's so confusing.
I think chart memes are funny. I don't
understand them. I'm not smart enough.
It's just never understood a chart before.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but this feels like a situation where you should get a green screen because like I don't like seeing anyone's bed in the background.
Yeah, and it's not even made.
Yeah, like make your bed. It's just very.
I think he left it unkempt to prove that he is not an incel.
Right. Like how couldn't be selling this bed?
What's actually the opposite of incel in terms of word? Like, because I
mean, besides volcel, like you mean like what would be
in sex
okay, so like involuntarily celibate. So if you were voluntarily fucking, like, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, inside. You're inside a person. You're an insider.
Incels and insides.
So I mean, this is I think we got to stop already.
Well, no, I don't you want to scroll. Here's the thing: he's remaking.
Do we know? Okay, I guess it's.
So do you want to know where he puts all of our
Burzum's.
He's
our
still
favorite
talking.
bands.
Does he put the
I mean,
Ergs on
obviously,
here?
Skip to the End must immure Death Grips.
Page 99 at the drive-in.
Sabaton? Like, what? Why is he picking? How is he picking these
This guy's
bands?
definitely like. I know it's like easy thing to say all the time that people are a CIA psyop, but this guy definitely is, and I don't know why. I don't know why they felt the need to make one for.
You're like, I'm going to make an incel chart that features the Violent Femmes, Electric Wizard, Page 99, Death Grips.
Black Flag. That's another good one. There's that one song. God,
That's my boy right there, Finn McKenty.
What's the
Yeah, Finn. Okay, well, I want to skip to the end and see how this chart sort of looks.
Where's he going to put Odd Future, this fucking dumbass guy, in 2021?
We're going to conclude this.
You shouldn't even have that Donut Odd Future logo available to you in this
Why
year.
is Burzum on this? Like, Nirvana.
He's
making,
they always were. They're fans with the definition of sad burnouts and still are. I feel like that's the Nirvana fan that I remember. And granted,
okay, so
I'm
hang
from
on.
Western Washington.
All of
Okay.
these, so all of these things
it was
are
just kind of a sad place
incel
back then,
music, but it's just based on different
gotta say it, I
what
think
kind
the
of
Nirvana
incel you
fans
are.
sad
Is that?
burnouts. I think Nirvana's great.
that the
Yeah,
thing?
are you a
Really cool
nerdy
people, but
incel,
if we're
or are
talking
you
about
like,
where
are you a
place some
smart
incel music
incel,
happens,
like you
I
listen
think
to
it's here. So,
Periphery,
there we have it. That
or are
is the
you a
incel music
dumb
compass.
incel and
Have
you
fun
listen
making
to
this.
Odd
Let's do more of
Future?
these
Like, I just,
compasses in the future.
the
Who
story so
listens to
far.
Odd Future? Also, like that's not even like Odd Future is from like 2001 or
This
something.
is just a clothing brand logo. This
Yeah,
is
that's just
being
like from Zoomies.
all right, well, there's Tool and there's Gucci. What the fuck?
Do you think Finn McKenty has ever heard of the Ergs before? I guess that's where we need to start. To start this,
That
this
is
journey.
where we have to
The
start,
punk
for
rock
sure.
MBA. Okay, I'm going to search his tweets and see if he's
Yeah,
ever
definitely.
mentioned-
Let's find out what he's had to say about the Ergs.
Like no tweets about the Ergs. I don't know all the lyrics, so maybe there are songs that seem more incel. But to me, this one just seems to be more. Yeah. Like I mean, we're both wifed the fuck up. We're not. The only cell that we are is the prison cell of marriage.
Yeah.
What we have
That was
here.
good.
But you know, I don't want to be the one to say like if this makes you uncomfortable, that's fair. But this just seems like it's just like I'm silly guy who has a crush on you, so I wrote you this song. And it's not. I think where it gets really incel is when you let Henry Rollins in, and he's kind of the Finn McKenty of his time. Kind of like
the ending with the Henry Rollins thing is-
outspoken guy who talks too much. Yeah, that part I'm like, okay, this sucks. And also like,
But I think they're being funny.
was there no? Yeah, so that's the other thing is like, do they? I guess they probably like Black Flag, but it kind of reminded me of. Because the Ergs, this song actually kind of reminded me of like early Chicks Dig It, where it's like firing on all cylinders, and you're like, hell yeah, maybe Calgary ain't so bad after all. We got Chicks Dig It, we got the Wednesday Night Heroes, you know, it's all happening.
Big things happening in the Calgary.
But they have
punk
that
scene,
song, Henry Rollins is No Fun. It's like such a classic banger, hilarious song. And then I thought, yeah, maybe are they playing off of the self-seriousness of Henry Rollins by including this this sound clip at the end? But I also feel like probably not. And I also feel like whenever this is from, like 15 years ago, is that right? Probably around then?
It's from 2004.
2004.
Like, this is basically ancient. Like, we had to like sort of dust
So
off
like 17
an old-
years ago. Okay, that is crazy. But I feel like back then there was no books yet that existed, and so everyone loved Get in the Van. So, like I owned Get in the Van. I don't think I ever read it, but it seemed like it was just kind of about like getting in a van. Is that right?
No, most of Get in the Van is about like being in the hut and like listening to ZZ Top. Like Get in the Van, it's a misnomer. It's sort of like Jason Takes Manhattan. And
mostly on a
like
ship.
he does get in the van eventually, but it's like only in the final act. Like mostly he's on the boat. And yeah, the boat is the shack. It's the shack, sorry, where he like writes poetry and listens to ZZ Top, and no one understands him.
Well, you're thinking of a different book. The Shack is an evangelical Christian novel, very popular. The Shack. Check it out, everyone.
Ooh, I did not know that. That's exciting. But no, that's the thing. It's okay. I think that I actually do think that like a band like the Descendants, we talked about this when we did them. Like there's some like kind of like where or a lot of early emo stuff. I mean, some fucking Dashboard stuff. Like it's like 100% like where it's more about like blaming and Taking Back Sunday, right? Where it's about like blaming women for like not liking you and not reciprocating or whatever. Whereas I feel like the perspective of like most Erg song, and again, maybe someone other disagrees, but I feel like when people joke about the Ergs being incel music, like that's it, is it kind of is just like more of a joke. It's not fucking Weezer where you're like, oh shit, that's fucking weird that you said that on a record for millions of people to listen to. Like, it's way more, like playful and just like, I've got a crush.
Yeah.
You know, and like, that's not
like, it's not incel
to have a crush.
It definitely has more like free hugs energy or like, where's my hug energy. Like it's definitely unnerving for sure.
But that's like, at worst, it verges into where's my hug territory. Like, it's not Smile Sweetie. It's not, it's not Rebel Girl.
And who amongst us doesn't want a hug, Yeah.
I think like, I don't know there's a lot of Erg songs that like are, about getting friend zoned,
Well, this song seems to be that he loves writing songs about having his heart broken. So he's kind of looking forward to being rejected so that he can write another song about it. Is that right? So it's kind of like...
that seems...
Is
that
being
seems like
meta incel behavior? Probably not. It's kind of just normie at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Being meta is actually quite basic at this point.
That's a Stacy thing to do, for sure.
Yeah, you're right. I guess it's like, I'm hoping that I can churn out another banger because
he says he's praying for rain. So I also appreciate that despite you said he's very smart, this Mikey Erg fella, he still does seem to believe in God. And so that's great in that sense too.
I got to say also, like, you regrettably informed me that you're taking a walk. The way that lyric comes, like, that's the thing is, like, this song has that, like, obviously, like, Ramones chord energy, but just even in the way that it's, like, put together is it feels... I think, like, one of the things that's, like...
It's like a VeggieTales song. It, like, seems like it's children's music.
But that's it. It actually has this, like, old-timey pop sensibility to it. Like, it really has this, like... 50s pop song, like even like before, like it's got like this is like a Brill building, like song you'd play on an out of tune piano, like like you can picture someone like bringing this up to the publisher and being like, "Can I have my nickels, sir?" Like this is like old timey Tin Pan Alley pop music, but like filtered in the same way that the Ramones were doing the kind of like 60s kind of girl groups thing. I think this is a band that. Because the problem with these, like, quote unquote descendants of all these bands is usually that they're, like, only copying the most superficial elements of their favorite bands. And that's, like, fine. That's totally normal and interesting things can come from that. But I think what was so great about the Ergs is that it's not like they were just into the Descendants and the Ramones and, like, Screeching Weasel. They were into the bands that made the Ramones interesting, right? And so... that stuff comes out, but because it's being filtered through someone else's sensibility, you're not hearing, Phil Spector, great, while we're talking about how good and not incel.
Well, was he an incel? I mean, I don't know. I can't.
No, I don't know if he's an incel, but just mean in terms of sort of history's great misogynist.
Well, we're not. That's the thing, though, Sam. No one's complaining about misogyny. Specifically, incels seems to be the issue.
So, right? Yeah, but that's it. So, okay, this is the other thing. So, like. Have we just sort of swapped out talking about misogyny with just describing everything as being incel music? Because again, that's how I found the Finn McKenty thing. Because I was like, when did we start like debating what is incel music? And that was like a prominent recent example of like in the last couple of years, I guess in general, as like referencing 4chan culture has kind of become a way to. It's become sort of shorthand for like a type of internet, even if it's not exactly what you mean. Because mostly what we're talking about is like because is even I guess Weezer is, but like mostly the stuff that is like about like old Weezer is like kind of misogynist, or it's like racist, I guess, too. Oh, that's weird.
I mean, it's not great. It's not good. That's why I've been trying to tell you new Weezer is where it's at. I mean,
you're just doing that to kind of protect yourself.
On Van Weezer, he says, "You got me crying like when Aslan died," and it's like the sickest line ever in music. I'm just scrolling back.
You're not getting that in the old in the classics. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going back to see where I just I guess Rivers referencing has gone from Asian to Aslan.
That's good, man. You should tweet that the next time the sort of like, is it okay to listen to Weezer?
No,
discourse?
I don't think I don't like to have
quarterly.
I don't like discourse about music anymore, which is probably going to pose an issue for this show that we have here. But
I like discourse right here, and it's you pointing to some sort of
what would
like
what would that be?
Like a menu or something.
I'm scrolling back to see how long the people I follow have been using the word incel. So you can keep hedging. I'm in the middle of 2019 right now. So,
but incel music, like I know generally.
Yeah, but I follow like
incel.
so many like pop culture type of people. I'm sure I'll find. I guess I don't follow like Maybe search it on Noisy. Like that feminist
Noisy
music website.
here, that is the barometer, man. Everyone. Turns out I follow a lot of people who love to tweet about insults. But so for example, and I think I started to say this off the top in terms of while you and I both sort of just scroll endlessly, is that
us scrolling Twitter in silence could be a pretty good podcast, I think. Honestly,
it's not a bad idea. It's just like it's just sort of it's like sitting beside someone that you live with and just sort of looking at your phones. Where you're like, sometimes it's just nice to have someone there. But like. At that show, at that Ergs show, at the Legion Hall, which is so crazy, like that, I ended up living on the street where that show happened. It's like one of those things where, again, the Ergs don't feel like an old-timey band, but that song's from 17 years ago, and that show happened in a Legion Hall that like turned into a furniture store, and like that whole area got gentrified like overnight. But it was like a place where you could go and have. I know, no, it's way, way, way better now. Obviously,
furniture lasts way longer than something that Punk News would write about.
I mean, it provided you buy it from a great store like this one that sort of took over the Legion Hall. But like they covered a Nils song, and I don't know if they did that because they were in Canada. I haven't been able to find any videos, but they covered Fountains by the Nils, and you're like, that is a real that is for fucking heads, and to do that just because you're in Canada, like I haven't found any other reference to them like ever covering that. So I don't know if they did it in Montreal or they mixed up Montreal and Toronto, like who knows. But like that degree of like pop and pop punk kind of musical knowledge. And it's why I think that like Bomb the Music Industry was good, and why I think Jeff is like an interesting musician, because there's just so many different points of reference that are like both inside of the sort of like quote unquote kind of sound and scene that you're working in, and then like a million other things that sort of all get sort of filtered out. But like through that is, I just think the idea of like being a pop punk band that would like cover the Nils and Descendants and not just do like a Saves the Day cover or something, which is obviously not something that the Ergs would ever do.
That would almost be more subversive if they did that.
That's true. Is there a way to do like earliest possible tweet? Because this is like people love.
It's hard to. I know that people love to say the word incel almost as much as they used to love saying New Kendrick equals fire emojis or whatever it used to be.
You know what? I'm going to see who's tweeting about vol cells. No one's tweeting about vol cells.
There's been less tweets about Weezer incel than I realized. Or maybe here we go. I mean, the point is, I know it's still an issue. In fact, there's something. I think there was like a recent controversy in that there was like a incel. Yeah, I don't want to get involved actually because I don't know the details, but I feel like there was some recent like actual incel music festival that went off, and then Antifa was called, and someone that I know loosely through the internet had played the show, and there's this whole I'm already saying way too much for something that I don't want to say, but
you're giving a lot of details here.
Yeah, it seemed pretty like it seems like it is still an actual severe issue going on in terms of like channers and incel culture and like actual like there's enough horrible things actually happening that to then just say every time a song is like I'm a guy and I'm sad because I sent you a Valentine and whatever.
I think that's cool, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like,
and I also
is
don't,
Ralph
I
Wiggum
don't,
an incel? I don't know. That's kind of the vibe that I'm thinking of.
Well, we've talked a lot about sort of the unstoppably broy vibe of Fest. And the Ergs, I feel like, despite having like just a whole catalog of lovelorn tunes that, like, you know, from their perspective were like mostly directed at women, like they, I feel like, have a more diverse fan base than a lot of these bands. So like when I think of being at a Lawrence Arms show, and again, I'm not trying to, like, I feel like it's always so awkward in those situations when we're talking about this because I'm erasing people who do like those bands and are not just me. But my perception,
well, even in the Punk News review of Younger Strike, aka Junior Battles, you were described as being like, we didn't even talk about what the review said about you. It said, the first band of the evening was local band Junior Battles, who I had never seen before. They drew comparisons to Jawbreaker, however, so I was anticipating their set. They ended up sounding a little more like the Lawrence Arms, which seems like a critique.
A little bit of a bait and switch there.
It seems like a critique.
Early Lawrence Arms does sound like Jawbreaker, so I don't think that's that crazy.
Was it under on the poster under your name? Did it say Jawbreaker? Vibes,
I think it was like Jawbreaker Worship or something. You know what I mean? Like
classic
Jawbreaker core, whatever.
Worship. There's a lot of worship thrown around on posters back then.
How do you feel about that? It's
I mean,
co-opting your culture.
It's you're gonna have to answer for it one day.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to worship Jawbreaker. It was a catchy phrase. It was like killed it. It was just something you said. I'm sorry.
You're like, no, I'm sorry. We were actually obviously just ripping off the Lawrence Arms, though.
Yeah. But you can see it says we have a nice fleshy sound.
Yeah, and it said one of the vocalists was too loud, so that wasn't probably...
Couldn't be me. No, it actually says one of the vocalists was too quiet.
Oh, right. Okay, I was.
But you're just sort of feeling it. You're like, well, that probably means Sam was too loud.
Yeah, exactly.
Overall, they were good performers.
The song sounded good. Although the crowd wasn't moving too much, they seemed to be enjoying things. That is what every Punk News review does say. The crowd seemed to enjoy it. Like, what does that mean? What was the... Like, are you just like a body language expert? Kind of, or like maybe...
They were all leaning towards us.
That's some 4chan shit right there, too, yeah.
Yeah. So that was... Oh, Statues played this show. This was a good-ass show, man.
Static Radio NJ played.
We talked about that. They came up, I believe, when we were watching Fested. They're a great band.
Too bad you didn't get to play with one of those other bands that was always in that documentary. Can't remember the name of.
That we might have made it into the doc, right?
The Booze Boys or whatever. Where are we at with this episode?
So I think, I don't know how we transitioned back into talking about the review. There's like a few things one thing that I want to talk about that I just find very confusing. It's a mystery that I would love for us to, not you and I don't think are going to be able to solve.
I'll figure it. I just want to say to you right now, without knowing what you're about to show me, I swear to you that I'm going to solve it.
Okay, so I was looking up to see, again, we acknowledge this is sort of how we do our research, like who we know, who's tweeted, a lot of tweets about the Ergs, obviously, in my timeline, and I'm sure yours. Specifically, though, this record, because I do think, like, we haven't fully talked about this, but obviously, like, Dork Rock Cork Rod is, like, this is one of the seminal texts of, what would we call it, like, the third wave of pop punk, maybe, like, of Fest, of contemporary pop punk. I mean, this is, like, a fucking record for people, and so you see it referenced a lot. You see people kind of play off the cover art, but you also see that there was like a Twitter account that doesn't really seem to exist or be the same person anymore. That was at Dork Rock Cork Rod. And the only two people in my timeline who interacted with it, but they interacted with it so extensively. Like eventually I was not seeing tweets about the Ergs. I was just seeing one side of a conversation between either Hate56, Sonny, like 100 tweets with this person, and at the Claire bot, a guest, both guests during the Blink-155 days. No idea who it is, but if you look up those usernames and at Dork Rock Cork Rod constantly like tweeting at each other, making plans, like these people don't live in the same cities. I have no idea what the possible common denominator is between at the Clairbot and Hate56.
Oh, Sam, I got to quickly tell you something just in reference to something that we're going to say in the future on this episode about what it's like to be missing out on the secret conversations. This is just for you. I'm going to say it out loud, though. The thing that you told me that you found on Twitter regarding Fest and one of your friends' bands is still something I keep thinking about, how funny that is. And you know what I'm talking about, the sort of secret account that you found.
Oh,
it's one of the funniest things.
You'll never not think about that again.
Yeah.
Like, it is one of those things that just like gets in your brain. It's pretty spectacular.
Well, I think I already figured out what happened though. So someone was named Dork Rock Cork Rod, and then I think they changed their name to Rock Dork Rod Cork because sometimes it's showing that Hate56 Sunny is talking to two accounts at once, and it's showing the alternate spelling. So I think this is a person that still exists on here who maybe just changed their name. And it says, if you're homophobic, get the fuck off my Twitter. It's entertainment for gay man and bitches. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not homophobic, but I feel like this private account is, we've already doxed them too much.
We've already done too much. That's fair. I like the idea of like, I'm not getting off this account because I'm homophobic. That's not why I'm leaving.
But the thing is, like, it did kind of seem for a little while as we were investigating this, like one of those things that, sometimes Twitter accounts, like my friend at Crypto Terrible today was just like digging up a whole bunch of really old movie account, like single purpose movie accounts. So it almost seemed like it was going to be like when this album first came out, they had a Twitter account.
Like the album account. I mean, and again, the only people that cared about it were Sonny and Claire. That's reminiscent of a classic pair. So before we get into covers, there are I want to play a cover, and I actually do want to play a bit of the Ergs playing this at Fest, because I think it's like, to me, the Ergs playing this at Fest is like the kind of perfect example of.
I'm gonna miss this still of Finn McKenty looking at his creation, gazing on it proudly, but I guess that's for my private time to rewatch this.
You can gaze at Finn and his creations sort of whenever you want. But basically, like the story goes, so Fest 7, this is like the band is breaking up, and Dead to Me, I think, ended up dropping off the festival. And so they just played 2 full sets. They did like a full set, and then they did a set of just Dork Rock Cork Rod. So you see this on some level. I feel like this is when people talk about like just like loving Fest and the atmosphere that you can have in that context. I don't know. You're gonna love it.
Wait, is this the Ergs?
No, this is, yeah.
I didn't actually realize that Mikey Erg was a drummer who sings.
Oh yeah. They're like the Eagles.
Or Matt and Kim. I mean, honestly, this video is making me not love it so much, but...
Oh, no. Okay, well, this is going to make you really fucking hate it, because I know that you want to see a band playing Fest where half of the guys are dreadlocked.
Oh, cool.
So this is Rehasher, who are legitimately so fucking sick. This is Roger.
Okay, so let's just slow this down, because you didn't even tell me that the drummer was the singer. Mike Erg was the drummer.
I just assumed you knew that.
I didn't know that. And also, you got to. No one knows. No one's heard of anything we're talking about. So let's just slow this down. You're telling me that this is a band called Rehasher, who I presume rehash moments that happened in Fest lore of the past.
No, they're like just like a super sick skate punk band.
Well, they're wearing
instance,
like
so I can see how the name is.
Yeah, they're rehashing the Ergs, it says, and they're called Rehasher. 2 of them do have dreadlocks that are very hilariously dorky looking, and they're all wearing jumpsuits with the Ghostbusters logo painted on the back. So this is like some primo fucking dork ass shit.
Well, you got to remember it's Halloween.
Right, yeah, that's no excuse.
But this is like also at Fest 7, so this is like basically like the Ergs are breaking up. The Ergs are playing Fest 7, and then Rehasher in their set play 3 Ergs songs.
Okay, that actually is really funny. I do like that a lot, actually.
And that's the thing, is like Rehasher have like albums. Like Rehasher has enough original material that they don't need to play 3 Erg songs to like bulk out their
They just
set.
can't help it. They're called Rehasher.
It's just a natural part of their identity. I can't believe you didn't know Mike Erg was the drummer. Yeah, I mean he plays guitar. He's a very talented young man.
Well, I think the song is really good. I think I am having a "It's not the band, it's their fans" kind of moment where, like, even saying the album title out loud, I'm like, this is a bit much. Or like the fandom. I feel like we're entering into like Ween territory where I'm just like, I need to tap out because it's just.
Well, maybe okay. Before we take the bloom fully off the rose, maybe we should talk to someone who loves and appreciates this band and can help sort of right the ship for you.
Right, and we haven't talked to her yet, so that would be great and would help.
Seamless. Yeah. This is going to be a new and exciting conversation for you.
I think I'm about to have a freaking orgasm. I was going to say that on the regular part of the pod, but I just can't wait to say it because I'm bursting at the seams.
You think you've made it through the first part of the pod without saying that? You think this is the first time in this episode that you've said that?
I wonder. Oh, now that's an interesting challenge. But anyways, we are joined by not just my friend, my actual birthday twin, Sam. I think we've talked about this before. I don't know if you've ever had anyone in your life who was born on the same day and the same year as you. We do have birthday twin brain. It is my friend Lyndsay Bedard, whose name I did say correctly earlier, and it was not incorrectly said. What's up, Lyndsay?
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
Lyndsay. Hoisted by your own Bedard. It would have been better if you had said something and that made sense, but I was like, I got to get this out now because I will forget how to pronounce it.
Right. It's like saying orgasm. Really.
Yeah, you were like, got to get it out now.
So Lyndsay,
I had like a full on like dad joke laugh when you did that, like the whole like head in the hands kind of thing.
really good. Lyndsay, you're from the band No War, obviously. You're also kind of, in addition to being my actual birthday twin, which, I don't know, I mean, I almost feel like we don't even need to tell them about it, but we do have kind of a sort of a psychic connection from being born on the same day. Our spouses have to really spend most of the year planning our joint birthday. I do
Except
also
for like the one or 2 weeks of the year when we let them plan their own.
Yeah.
You give them 2 weeks. That's quite generous of both of you. I think that's too kind. They should be focused on you both.
I was
At
mocking
least 2 people, a week apiece, you know.
I was mocking friend of the pod, Ivan, for celebrating their birthday month. And Ivan pointed out that I've somehow talked about my birthday every single week for the last. That's true. And actually, it was Lyndsay who got me a bunch of the bevies that we've been doing exclusive shoots with.
Oh, right. All those incredibly sugary. Like, are you trying to kill him, Lyndsay? Like, what's your game here with all these high fructose bevies?
I mean, you know, he's my friend and there's a pandemic going on. And I was like, you know, my friend needs a lot of sugar right now since he doesn't drink alcohol. So
that's where I get my sugars from. So, yeah.
Exactly.
I think she's trying to kill me to absorb my birthday twin powers, really. But
well, I don't know, because with you speaking about your, aka our birthday every week, it's technically my birthday year as well. So I kind of reap the benefits here.
That's true. Okay, so in addition to that, you play in the band No War, who are sick. Everyone needs to check out No War. But also, and obviously, you know, you are your own person, but it's worth stating that in addition, you are also Mrs. Chris Charge. You are married to the D-Beat man of the pod, Chris.
I am married to the D-Beat man of the pod. However, I do not know much about the D-Beat genre other than when he punishes me with information about discharge.
Right.
Which is a lot.
In your house when we did the discharge.
Yeah, that's
episode.
the thing. That's kind of what I wanted to ask because, like, obviously, you know, Chris has been obsessively listening to the pod for years. I think the reason Lyndsay and I are really good friends is because you don't obsessively listen to it. You're kind of more normal about it. You're kind of a more normal person about it. But
I listen to it by proxy.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it was really leading up to this moment of us talking about Discharge. A Blink-182 podcast talking about Discharge is already like quite a bad thing. But I know, describe to us the scene in your home when Chris had to. I mean, even our group chat with him, it was quite a heavy week for him.
Oh yeah, no, it was a very heavy week for him, and I'm not going to get in. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. It was a really heavy week for him, and I think the funniest part, honestly, was listening to him punish everyone in our group chat, because all you had to do, Josiah, is say discharge, and it was like information and history. And there was times where I would try to subtly say something that had something to do with literally anything else. And it would just be like, he would be like, yeah, okay. Anyway, Josiah, did I send you this link about this like really rare footage of Discharge in 1970? Blah, blah, blah. I don't even know if it's 70s. Please don't come at me. But it was like that. But then when it was time for him to do the interview, he locked himself in the office, and I had to take care of Rain, so I didn't get to hear any of it or kind of giggle or throw him off or anything, although he wouldn't have been. But yeah, it was a lot.
It's so good. And that, I mean, there's more to it, but I think that's for our group chat. But I mean, just the photo of him listening to the episode was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't going to do. It was like, he was just like, his hood was on, his head was in his hands, and I was laughing because every song that came on, which very good covers, by the way, I'm not putting any of them down, but for him to listen to Discharge in all these different ways, it was just like
not a lot of D-Beat style covers that week, which was
no.
Kind of, I think
and he was just like,
Chris lost a few years of his life.
I put this out into the world.
But you guys also talking about like the sort of secret stuff that only can happen in the DMs that you can't talk about. That's like additional context for the week. I'm now realizing that's what it's like to listen to this podcast, because I have no idea what you're talking about. And Josiah, you and I do this all the time. We're like, okay, I'm just going to chat it to you.
Yeah,
it's horrible. What a horrible experience to be on the outside of.
Well,
I'm going to need one of you to chat me whenever.
As long as I'm always privy to everything, I'm happy with it. That's fine.
I mean, I'll tell you what, you might not be privy, but you're certainly pervy. You know.
Well, I'm having a freaking orgasm over here because
right. I knew it was coming.
Lyndsay, your version of Discharge, I think maybe, because I feel like it comes close. That similarly, when this band name is mentioned, you will also go off on very long tangents because you fucking love the Ergs, right?
I do. I mean, they're really wonderful people, and I get very defensive if someone has anything bad to say about them, because I just like, it's like okay, you know what? A good analogy is, it's like if you have a sibling that you can't stand and you will shit talk like crazy, but then the second someone said something about them, you're like, oh no, you don't get to say that. You know, kind of like that.
That's fair. I guess. I mean, I don't even have any questions about them, but it's not really it's not really the same, right? Like it's not like there's people who like have like, well, maybe it is the same. Do people have like Ergs tattoos? Is there a name
Absolutely.
for Ergs fans?
It's a huge thing.
What are they called? Ergs fans? Dork. What's the album called?
Dork.
So just called Dork.
Yeah.
Is there a name for the fandom?
I don't think there is that I know of. If there is one, at least I feel good that I don't know of it, to be honest. But there are a lot. Like if you were at an Erg show, actually now they're doing more shows, I think. But if you were at an Erg show, there are a lot of exclamation mark tattoos. There's a few people in Montreal, and my really good friend, who is now wife of the bassist of the Ergs, has one on her back that she got before she met him.
Oh, that's kind of awkward.
Is that like a commitment? Like she was like, I'm by hook or by crook, I'm going to worm my way into someone's life in the Ergs? What is the story there?
No, I don't know what the exact story is, other than she just really loves that band. With reason, they're a great band. But yeah, she definitely willed that into existence by way of lots of needles into her back. Like go that way, but. Wow. I wish I had a juicy story for you on that one, but I don't, other than she just really likes them.
No, that's pretty good.
She met them.
who, like, if I could get a band tattoo, like, what sort of marriage would I will into existence? Like, like, I don't think I've really occurred to me the powers of the back tattoo, like, is there a particular place maybe to put it, like, where you can sort of conjure the relationship? And maybe we can also take this to the DMs,
my computer just freed out. Okay, no, never mind.
Is it like a lower back Ergs tattoo?
It's the top. It's like under, like, in I don't know what that section's called, like below the neck, like in the middle, top middle. And I'm thinking about, there's a lot of people that I've seen with tattoos there. So maybe there's like some kind of like weird Illuminati thing that I don't know of with Ergs tattoos.
There's like there's a secret Ergs sex cult where they have orgasms.
I know.
Lyndsay,
God.
You said your first thing that you said about the Ergs. This is interesting to me, and normally I wouldn't grill someone as much, but you are my birthday twin, and I think this might be where we deviate. But your defense of the Ergs, or not defense, but the first thing you said, it was nothing about like if they've got the tunes to back it up. You just said that they're wonderful people, but in my experience in life, nice people have terrible bands and suck at music a lot of the time. So I'm curious, like, how you feel about the nice guys too bad about their band dichotomy.
Well, I mean, I'd say that's very fair because, how many shows do you go to of your friends who are really nice guys and they play a set and you're like, yeah, dude, great set, and then change the subject really quickly, right? But in terms of the Ergs, I think they're great dudes, but they're also, I love this band. It's really catchy and it's really fun. And when you see them and you're in that room full of everybody just enjoying it, I love it. It's a whole experience, I guess, which sounds really douchey now that it's coming out of my mouth.
Yeah, you sound like Sam, honestly.
I know. Oh, no.
I was like, I think you sound totally reasonable.
Oh, no, I sound like someone describing Fest.
Yeah, you do.
You do, but that's the other thing is, like, I feel like, Lyndsay, you are... Like, you've been to Fest before, right?
I have, yeah. Actually, the funny thing is today I just got, so I'm barely on Facebook, but I do like to look back at my memories. That's the only thing I use Facebook for, is when they let me know what I've done in the last, 15 years. And I was notified this morning that today, 14 years ago, I was on my way to my first Fest. I've only been to 2. I'm not saying that I've been to 1 million, but I was on my way to my first Fest today.
Which fest was that? I can't do the math on 14 years plus figuring out which fest we're at now.
That was Fest 6.
Ooh, that's a fine fest. And then did you go to Fest 7? Like, was it in order?
No, I skipped. I went to Fest 6 and then I went to Fest 9. Yeah.
Oh, another great
Almost
fest.
the sex number. 6 and 9.
Almost. So close.
Why did you take 2 years off? Were you just like, oh my God, I need to take a shower for 2 years before I can do this again?
It's funny though, because Fest 6, like, even the difference between Fest 6 and Fest 9 was huge, because Fest 6 was very more like, there was a lot of folk punk involved. There was a lot of not anything close to what Fest is now. And there wasn't nearly as many people, which is why I think I preferred that one to any of the other one that I went to. But the break was because first Fest, I went to the Fest with a friend of my now ex-boyfriend's who I didn't know that well, but he was like, oh, you're going to this thing? That sounds cool. Oh, Municipal Waste is playing. Sick. I want to come. And then he came with me, and it was a fucking nightmare. He was such a nightmare to travel with. He was such a nightmare to hang out with, and just that drunk guy that you're carrying around.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it does sound like a Municipal Waste fan to me.
Yeah, everything that you know about a Municipal Waste fan is that guy, and it was I barely knew him to begin with.
Wasted hats, like the suicidal tendencies, upturned brim hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
you have to. I think they all have that. I don't think anyone who's ever listened to Municipal Waste doesn't have that hat.
I think it's like a law.
It just appears on your hat if you listen to that band.
It's like getting hairy palms if you masturbate. It is. It's like a way for the rest of us to identify who the real Josiah pervs are.
The only good thing about him being with us was I remember. Do you remember the band Monotonics?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Monotonics was playing, and he was way too drunk to know anything about life. So I just took him and I propped him up against the wall. I couldn't tell you what the venue was. I propped him up against the wall and just hung like my bag and my friend's bags and everything on him, and he just stayed there and didn't move. So he became basically like a coat rack, and then I got to go enjoy monotonics.
That's awesome.
That's great. So it looks
what a great practical use for a municipal waste fan.
I'm looking at the I'm looking at the lineup for Fest 6. Some of the bands we've been talking about, the Lawrence Arms, played at it. The Ergs did play. Did you already know the Ergs, or did you see them first there? Like, how did you get into how did you become an ergasmer?
Oh God, don't. Okay. So actually, I didn't know them that well there. I did see them play. So my biggest band that I went to go see was the Marked Men, because that is one of my all-time favorite bands. So the Ergs played, I think, the same place and maybe the same days. If I'm not mistaken, at least definitely the same place. I maybe knew like half a song just from my friend, going back to my tattoo back friend, just from her, but I didn't really know them. And I think maybe that was their last fest. I could be remembering that wrong. But I just remember the place going fucking insane and it being really dangerous. And I had to like, Sam, you have never seen me in real life, but I'm not tall. I'm very much the opposite of tall.
Oh yeah.
So I just remember having to like find a place to hide to not get body slammed.
Sam would probably think you're probably taller than Sam, to be honest. But
hey! If you're looking for a safe place as a person who's not tall, might I suggest a Reviver concert?
Well, that would actually work. Probably be my benefit to be in a Reviver concert because I just said concert. Did you say concert? Why did I say concert?
Yeah, Sam said it. Sam.
Look, it's look at a little bit of a some behind the scenes action here. It's daytime right now.
Sam's spreading narc energy right now, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just still in work mode, right? I might have a Zoom after this.
You go to the Reviver recital.
Are you going to come to my rock show?
Are you going to the Reviver concerto performance? Do you? Okay, so Josiah, presumably we'll have talked about this a little bit, but I'm curious. As someone who went to Fest, seemingly had a good time, enjoyed, described the atmosphere of Fest accidentally in a very positive way, but is obviously not like a Fest person. Do you feel like the Erg sort of connect different? Maybe like punk communities, in that they are not like exclusively this sort of like festy band the way that the Lawrence Arms are?
Absolutely. I would actually agree with that, because I do find the Ergs has very big followings, and they're very different groups of people that I know who have like a very big love of the Ergs. And when it comes to Fest, I have gone to Fest, and I will say positive things about Fest. And Fest 9 as well, I had a great time there. But now, I would definitely never go to Fest again now. But the Ergs, and also Mikey Erg, because Mikey Erg at this point is the Fest. Let's be honest with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they bring all these different types of fans, I'd say, together, and all these, I don't want to say cliques, because they're not mean people, but different, I guess, cliques together, and they do meet up at Fest, but at the same time, not really. Maybe I'm not answering that properly, but
no, totally. I think it's I guess the thing I wonder about is why? Because to me, I guess they're different from bands like the Copyrights, or there are bands that sort of do a similar thing. Maybe they sit somewhere between the very festy pop punk bands and bands like the Marked Men, who are cooler, for lack of a better description.
Yeah, I think the difference is that, having just listened to this Erg song a few minutes ago for the first time in many years, it's just really not embarrassing is kind of the difference. I think.
I think also so there's, okay, you brought up the Copyrights, so I'm going to go with that, and I hope I also don't get yelled at, because I do lurk the 155 Discord often, so please don't come at me. But I can't stand the Copyrights, and I can't stand bands like the Copyrights. And that's not saying anything about the people. As we said earlier, I'm sure they're very nice people. Can't stand that band. And yet they are very much within the same realm as the Ergs. And I think, to me, there's, maybe I'm going to go off topic here, off on a tangent, but there's the Ergs, who have been doing this for a very long time. They started off in New Brunswick, New Jersey, which is its own scene on it, in and of itself as well that turns out really good music. And then there's bands like the Copyrights and like Iron Chic. I don't know, like all those types of bands that sound in that way. And I find those bands are bands that came afterwards. And I'm not saying that they're like copying anything else, but it's just like a whole new generation of fest music that I personally don't like, but I can see how catchy it is and why people like it. But yeah, I think it's like a generational thing. Like the Ergs started a very long time ago, and then like that music just kind of like evolved into other things, you know?
I couldn't believe that this was from, like, this song in particular is from 2004.
Yeah.
Like, that is fucking crazy. And you're right. I think part of it is like some of those bands were like sort of doing stuff, but it's, you know, the idea that, I mean, the Ergs obviously continue to put out, and Mikey's continued to put out great music, but it's sort of like if your Statement record comes out in 2004 and like the Copyrights are sort of still kind of doing stuff in 2021 that is like a descendant from that, it's like, I think it makes sense to not necessarily feel as attached to that music. But again, you can say whatever you want. I think the idea of this podcast sort of works because you can be like, I fucking hate the Copyrights. And like Josiah probably hasn't heard them, but if he were to hear them, he would probably hate them. But then I'm like, the Copyrights rock. And then everyone on the Discord is happy because everyone's represented.
I mean, I guess the only thing, Sam, that we do need to remember is we literally never have women on the show. And women who say that they hate bands probably get in more trouble than us, who are just like invincible.
Yeah, interesting.
But I'm just going to say, so Gullet, we did a cover for this episode, and at the end of it, I also give my opinion on Black Flag. Can't wait for that one.
in the Henry Rollins spot?
Yep.
Yeah, I will say putting the Henry Rollins thing at the end is pretty, it kind of ruins the whole song in terms of it aging well.
Yeah, when Chris was listening to it and that part came on, he was like, "Of fucking course, there's a Henry Rollins sound clip at the end." And I was like, "No, they're not those people, Chris. They're not the people you think."
Or
but
are
I do think
they?
people think they are those people, though, right? Like when we said we were doing this song, definitely immediately there were incel jokes on the Discord.
I know. Well, I get.
You hate to see incel discourse happening on Discord. You know, it's just kind of.
But like, well, you know, I agree. Like, my reaction would be, no, they're not the people that you think they are. They are not the band that you think they are. If you just, you know, were to read the lyrics and then know,
not a bunch of bros.
Yeah, exactly.
But isn't that the thing? I mean, isn't that the thing? Is like they're called the Ergs, and the album's called like whatever you said, Dork Cock or something. They're like isn't their whole thing that they're kind of like the wimpy guy that gets sand kicked on him at the beach at the start of that old comic strip?
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, it's their whole thing, but it's not even their thing. It's just literally who they are. Like, when you get to know them, it's not a front. And I know that's like, no, man, they're really that person, but they really are those people. Like, they're just like super nice, you know, I'd say like last guys finish last type of guys, even though they don't, because they're amazing, talented, and they have very successful band. But yeah, no, they like legitimately are those like nice, not broy, not, you know, even Mikey who's in like how many bands now, or like a part of how many incredible releases, and like I think he recorded at what's it called, Blasting Room, if I'm not mistaken, which is insane. And it doesn't go to his head. He's just like still this nice guy who's not a shitty, I'm just gonna say a shitty fest bro.
Right.
Well, like you look at like Mikey Erg, and he looks like someone who had sand kicked on him. Like, and that's just true. So you're like, no, that's real. It's not. The problem is when like objectively beautiful people are like, I'm a dork and no one. It's kind of what we talked about a little bit in the Lawrence Arms episode, right? Like, I think the Ergs are protected by being visibly nerdy.
Yeah, they're not like Clark Kenting it, where they're like super good looking. No. Well, I mean, I'm not saying anything about their looks, but like where they're like that chiseled, you know, model of a man who then just puts on nerdy glasses with tape holding it together when it's not actually broken.
I'm really
take it off like, ooh.
Dog shit. Yeah,
I have the Fest 6 poster up on my computer, and it's a very weird line. First of all, the poster is one of the probably the worst pieces of art I've ever seen. Like, it makes the LMFAO album art look tasteful, just how fucking brutal this is. But the band Asshole Parade on the poster their name is censored so that I guess they couldn't have a cuss word on the poster, but they censored it by putting an asterisk for the second S of ass. So it says ass, and then it actually kind of looks like a butthole. Maybe are they trying to? That's weird.
Maybe it was on purpose.
Yeah, maybe it's actually cool. But then also like Circle Takes the Square played, like the Screamo band, and then Matt and Kim played. What a bizarre collection of bands. This Bike is a Pipe Bomb. Way down at the bottom, Modern Life is War. I mean, this definitely
is so small. Andrew Jackson Jihad is in like the tiniest font.
Yeah.
Also, this was the Seaweed reunion year. This was the year where I was like, I have to go to this festival.
So wait, you were there too?
Sam?
No, I didn't go till 7. But this was like, I was like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
I'm more OG than you. What's up?
I know. No, I'm like, congratulations. I'm a huge poser.
I mean, you've been to way more than I have, to be fair. So
Yeah, but
I'm just like
is that a good
in the back?
Yeah,
Is that a good thing to go to more of them? I don't know. I've been to none of them. I think I win this battle.
Yeah, no, you definitely do.
Who played at the first ever fest? Was it like the Sex Pistols or something?
Yeah.
Discharge.
Yes.
So
Sorry,
when
Chris.
did you go from fan to friend, Lyndsay?
I went from fan. So I lived in New Jersey. I moved there in December 2010. And so they played Montreal a little bit before that on their last tour. Maybe, I don't know when. It was like 2009, I think.
Oh, like the final tour?
Yeah, the final tour. I think that was 2009. So I met, when they're on tour, they have their good friend with them, Jay Insult. Sam, I don't know if you know Jay Insult. But he was like roading for them. So we met, we became friends, and fast forward to December 2010, I moved to New Brunswick, New Jersey. I moved in with Jay and another guy whose name I can't remember right now, Miguel. And I'd say that's around the time where they became friends, or maybe like a little bit before that, because before that I was basically driving from Montreal to New Jersey like every week, every weekend. So yeah, living there was amazing, and it was a lot of fun. And then from there I moved to Baltimore, and then back to Montreal, then back to New Jersey for another 4 years. But yeah, that would be around the time that I became actual friends with them. And over the years, like whenever, when Mikey would play Pooza, there was one year that I just had him, when I was still living in Montreal, he would stay at my place because I was out of town anyway. So he would stay at my place, and I'm all over the place on this one. But yeah, I'd say around 2010, they're my friend. And also my good friend Maya, she's from Montreal, and she married Joe. So that
I'll do it. That'll really cement it.
That'll do it.
She's the one with the tattoo.
She is the one with the tattoo.
Is your husband Chris trying to marry a member of Discharge, you think?
Oh shit.
It's possible.
Guess you're right, eh? Technically going by that.
We've discovered something important here for sure.
I mean, Sam and I both have 155 tattoos, so that's kind of...
They're marrying each other. I mean, I also have a few band tattoos. I guess I'm trying to marry some... Well, I guess I'm not embarrassed by all of them. Oh, you know what? Actually, so I have one, a little more embarrassing, but I have a Tiger Army one, so I'm trying to marry them, AFI.
Spooky.
Yeah. AFI, Descendants, and All, because guess what, guys? All is a good fucking band.
Oh, yeah, that's something that you've wanted to say to us for a while, and you have said it to me many times.
So many times, because anytime that it gets brought up, Chris runs down and makes me listen to it, and he knows it's going to just make me angry because you're so wrong. You are unbelievably wrong and so mean about it.
There's like a few good songs, but mostly it's just too much.
Also, Sam, I'm surprised that you don't like Chad Price All, because Chad Price and like Drag the River and all that, they're so festy.
I know, like, that's the stuff that, like, as a result, I think kind of Homework Month, where I, like, was listening to more All, and I was like, some of this is good, but it's just, it's so, it is, I feel like they have, as a group, like, zero quality control. Because they'll be like, because Chad Price sing Shreen, is that Chad Price?
I don't know, I'd have to look that up. I'm not
It's
that
just like, you're like, oh, some of these are, like, really, like, so sick. Like this is a perfect kind of like big anthemic pop song, and then it'll just be like a song. It's like, and I'm like, I don't care about like it's. I've also heard No Means No before, you know.
Yeah, well, that's definitely not Chad Price. I think Chad Price comes in at what's it called? I'm blanking. So one other thing about me, which I was nervous about doing this call for, is ever since being pregnant, I have like what I call pregnancy brain. It just doesn't go away, and I can't think of words. I have like this crazy brain fog over like simple words. But anyway, Chad Price comes in and at Pummel, I think it's called. No, maybe I'm mixing up bands, but anyway.
He sounds like this sounds like a high school bully named Chad Price. I don't know about that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, actually,
that's why I refuse to listen to it. I'm like, I just think he would beat up Mikey Erg, so it's solidarity.
Yeah, he's the guy who kicked sand on Mikey Erg. Lyndsay, I want to know before you go, what else do you have? Like, because you've been kind of listening to the pod through your husband for many years. I'd love to know what else you want to air out your grievances with us on the air. Very few people get to have this opportunity, and so I think you should really make the most of it.
Oh God. Okay. Well, All was my biggest one. I think you guys said something bad about Tilt once too, but I'm not hung up on this or anything. But
I don't know.
Yeah, you just remember. You're like, I have a real funny brain, but one time you said something that was just kind of dismissive.
I am going to stab Sam, but
and this is why I can never go back to Pooza Fest. I'm just worried about the stabbings.
Well, if it helps, I won't be there either, so you won't get stabbed by me there.
How do you feel about, because Pooza, I feel like a festival that I love, is like the most, it kind of skipped the like really punk like years 1 through 5 that Fest at least had. 8, 6, and 7, but like it like Fest has like really just become like the thing that you are not particularly interested in. And I feel like Pooza has just been that. Like Pooza basically started at like Fest 9.
Yeah, like just let me just say, as someone not from Montreal, I think something being called Pooza, I think just kind of immediately you're like, all right, I get it. No, thank you. I'm done.
Not for me. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely. Yeah, no, it's not for me. I'll just say that. It's not for me. I don't tend to go to a lot of Pooza shows. I'll go to some one-off ones. Like I went to the SNFU one because I love SNFU. But I don't think I've really been to anything Pooza other than going to see some friends who are in town and then leaving. But it's definitely not for me. It's a very it's a bro fest and I don't really go to it.
It is highly broy. And
it is, and that's why Festy's got. Yeah, I mean, I get it. You're a dude.
I know.
They're all dudes.
I don't know. It's one of those things. Like it sucks because I don't think through the end of this month I have understood any better why it is that way. Because
I don't think you
have an individual level. The art, like.
You have not redeemed a single thing about Fest this month.
I know. No, it's actually gotten worse. Like, if anything, because we couldn't.
And the thing is, there are. I mean, I'm saying this is Broadway. There's a lot of dudes, and there are a lot of dudes. But there are also a lot of female-led bands that are really good. I just don't think they get highlighted as much as they should be. And that's the thing about Fest for me that I wish was highlighted more. It's like
Matt and Kim, for example. Well, I guess more of a chick drummer on that one, but
Jesus Christ, you're right. Though. I think it's like maybe. I mean, there's clearly been no actual like. Unfortunately, I think like these things only kind of change when people make a deliberate decision to do it. Like you're like, we are just going to ensure that we program. Like we are going to schedule more like bands with female members. And they don't do that, obviously. So it's like there are definitely bands that are playing that are not like for like cisgender heterosexual white guys named Sam, but like kind of that's like the default mode. And so, and then those bands aren't necessarily put on, like if you put them on better bills, you put them in better spots, opening up for better bands, like, but it would have to be a deliberate decision. And maybe the issue, I don't know if this is true, but it's like the issue that there's no consideration for how to improve it, so it kind of just stays the same.
Yeah, and ways to improve it.
Well, they got someone named Eve playing this year.
Good.
Eve 6.
Wait, do they have Eve 6 playing this year?
Yeah. Because of the... No, sorry. Oh, I thought you were talking about Fest. No, I don't know anything about Puza.
We're talking about all. I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, Eve 6 is just literally doing it. Like, they're doing it's the Riot Fest thing. It's Puza Fest. Like, everything sucks.
Is Puza even like? Because actually, I was gonna go with Chris actually to see Millencolin play outside for free, and then this dang COVID thing happened.
Oh yeah, that happened like right around then. Yeah.
Yeah, but is it like back? Is there gonna be some funny, terrible 50-year-old pop punk guys here? Yeah, it looks like in May it's going to happen. So,
oh boy,
I'm going to stay
inside.
inside.
We all come out. We can all hang out. It'll be great. Yeah. Bro down.
Go to Foofs, have a nice Labatt. I don't drink beer, but
look at the. Josiah and I've talked this before, but like when we did the live show in Montreal, 1,000 like whatever, however long the pandemic's been ago, and then afterwards we went to Foofs. Which, like,
we went with Chris. Ready. Chris was there.
Yeah, that was the night of my bachelorette.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you were doing karaoke the whole time.
Oh, my bachelorette was great. I had a lot of fun. I was very drunk.
Lyndsay,
and I met Josiah the next day.
Yeah, we met Lyndsay the next day, and she was like cartoonishly hungover, where I thought she might have been doing a bit. And I still think it might have been a bit of a bit.
Not a bit. I was dying, and I could not believe that Chris was making me, which in retrospect, I'm super glad he did. But I could not believe that Chris was making me leave the house to go and, what was it, like deliver shirts or something?
Yeah, and then the people we were cat sitting for in Little Italy, their cat had pissed inside of our suitcase.
Yeah. And because we didn't hang out.
And then we didn't hang out with you because of that too. We're like, we have to go to the laundromat. All of our clothes are destroyed from this cat marking us.
That was how I met Sarah, because we were downstairs on the street and I was lying in the trunk of our car. And Sarah came out on the balcony being like, Josiah, the cat peed on our stuff.
And this is the beginning of your friendship now. This is so I'm glad that you dragged your hungover self post bachelorette party. That is rude. That is rude of Chris, though, I gotta say.
I know.
There's a band playing Puza this year from Calgary called Harsh that I've never heard of before. So check that out, I guess. Harsh. I'm just looking at the lineup. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of there's a lot of shit talking I want to do right now. I'm gonna wait till we're done, I think.
You know what? Just to balance things, I just want to say Puza rocks.
All right. Well, we'll edit that out. So that was a nice.
I'm just doing that for the people on the Discord who also love Puza.
But there's I just want to say one. I have a lot more to say, but I just want to say one more thing. When it comes to the Ergs too, speaking of like all this male dominant and like bro-y stuff, is when I think of them, I don't think of that at all, because if you go back to like where they're from and like the New Brunswick scene or just the New Jersey scene, there's so many amazing female-led bands that they've played with over the years, like Full of Fancy and they're not all female-led, but they all have females at least in them, like Full of Fancy and Black Wine and Screaming Females, Big Eyes, like all these bands, and Lost Weekend, Cheeky even, like these are the bands that I wish were dominating festivals. Like it was more like that instead of more, junior bad. Okay.
No, I get it. We're part of the problem. It's so interesting. Like I was watching some old fest videos today to prep for the Sclusy that has not come out. I don't really.
It's out. It's out. Okay, assuming assuming we don't die in the next couple hours, I guess.
But anything could happen. It's raining a lot here. Like maybe I'll get swept away. Did you, Lyndsay, when you were at fest, did you ever go to the Kickstand for shows?
I don't think so.
Like where they put those bands.
Sounds like it's from
Kickstand was like.
Sounds like it's from a young adult TV. Like sounds like it's from the Riverdale or something.
It'd be like an episode of Buffy. Like, oh yeah, we're not going to the Bronx tonight. We're going to the Kickstand.
It totally was. But for me, like coming from like Canada, where there was not the same. Like I'm from Toronto, and it's like does not have the same sorts of like spaces that exist in tons of cities in the States. So you go down to fest, and the Kickstand was like this literal, I think like it was a bike pirates kind of thing, like a sort of bike repair shop.
I went to that one.
At a stage in the back, and it was like a BYOB thing, so you just like hit the fucking gas station or whatever and just bring your natty.
It's also a library, no?
No, that was the there was like a library, like an anarchist library bookstore place that had then shows in the back. But this was like I don't think there were any books at the kickstand, but it was sort of where, you know, they would put bands like Bomb that had female members, and it was like where bands like Cheeky, did Cheeky ever play festivals? Like where a lot of that like kind of actually sick DIY stuff that tended to be, I think, a little bit more diverse was. And then when they lost that venue, I feel like, I don't know why, like I don't know that anyone distinct was programming, but it just sort of felt like a lot of that stuff went away.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't been there since 2010, so I feel like most of the venues that I know are gone by now, and they have like big venues, like the one where I see, I felt like yeah, that's it. Like it's becoming like a weird, like it's like Vans Warped Tour, but a whole town's worth of it.
Yeah, totally. Vans Warped City.
And there's Pre-Fest. Did you guys go on about Pre-Fest yet?
Yeah, not in a meaningful way.
God,
like,
no.
We definitely played Skate Park of Tampa like a couple of times, and then they like made Pre-Fest like its own professional thing, which obviously is sick and makes sense. But we never did that. Did you do Skate Park? The skate park shows though?
I don't know what I went. I went to the Pre-Fest in 2010. Nightbirds were playing, but other than that, I don't remember where it was. It was like in a warehouse kind of thing. Maybe it was a skate park. I don't remember. We just got into Florida and we had like an awful flight situation. So I got there and I just started going and drinking. There was like, I know that we went to a backyard show. Then we went to the place where they were doing the actual show. And I ate a lot of tacos and drank a lot of drink. So maybe they were skateboarding.
Take me back.
All right.
And I was wearing a fanny pack, and everyone was making fun of me. But look at now, by the way, everyone fucking wears them.
You started it. All right. Well, yeah, I feel like you two old heads could just gab away about Fest all damn day. But I think that's quite enough for this month and for this episode. Lyndsay, is there anything before we listen to Gullet, that you want to plug? You want anyone to follow you anywhere? Or should people just? I mean, should we let them into our group chat, or should we just promote our joint birthday? What do you want to promote?
Oh, yeah. So August 21st, 1985, if any others are out there, you could come and see us. We'll let you know if we'll let you in or not. But no, we're definitely not letting you into our group chat because things get a little too spicy and I want people to still like me. You can follow me on the Instagram or whatever else there is, but I'm private and I'm pretty much only post pictures of myself, my child, Rain, and Chris, and dogs, and maybe sometimes other things. So you can follow me. I am Vashija Tim. Don't be rude, Josiah. And Gullet, I really liked this is a fun cover. This is our last cover, so it was a really fun one to do. I enjoyed it, and I don't enjoy Black Flag.
Sam, I think I'm about to have a freaking orgasm from what you're about to say about these covers.
That's the first time you've ever said that.
Yep, it is, because we recorded this first. We just recorded.
Did you just think of that?
Of all the things we are going to record tonight, including exclusive, this is the first and not the last one.
We are starting. We're having dessert for appetizer.
Starting with an orgasm, no foreplay. That's the promise. Not my dork cock rod will not be. It's just straight to orgasm.
Right. You're going to have a hands-free, soft orgasm for your dork rod, cork rod. Wow. So these covers, these covers that we're going to hear, they all come from our Patreon gatekeepers, and they were all made in less than 96 hours, Josiah. For $5 a month, you, the humble listener, could get an early tip on next week's song.
And you should be humble because you're listening to a fucking punk podcast. Like that's
Stay
pathetic.
Humble. Don't.
That's pretty lame of you.
Whatever if you're out for a walk right now and you're listening to this, and maybe you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
Shit? I mean,
you fucking loser. listen to us talking. Listen to what you're doing with the precious moments on Earth. So please check yourself and give us your money, because for $5 a month you could get the early tip on next week's song. You could also get bonus episodes. That right? You could have even more of us in your life. You get these episodes early, so you don't have to wait to hear what we have to say.
Well, here's the other thing I want to say real quick about humility and the need to deny oneself in order to grow as a... No, actually, what I want to say is we've been doing these covers. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a wild ride. There's been literally thousands of covers. And coming up to the end of November, it's going to be 1 year of this version of 155 Pod. And guess what? Well, I'm not telling Sam for the first time because... We need to at least keep up the appearance that Sam also is involved with the decisions we make on the show. That's the end of season 1 of the show. Therefore, at the end of November, the cover session is going on indefinite. I almost said infinite hiatus. It might be infinite, but anyways, covers.
Hiatus, don't hate us.
If you've been dying to do a cover, November is going to be your month to sign up because we're almost done with the covers as they look now. And then we've also agreed on an idea for December that is you're going to want to be involved with that, I think. Everybody.
It's very important. What's happening in December is
the birth of
monumental.
Jesus Christ.
It's going to be a great closer to the year and a great closer to this version of it. But yeah, this is it. This is the last call. The lights are going up. Chairs are up on the tables.
Starting next year, there's going to be we're hiring security, so to speak. There's going to be barricades. It's going to be a different kind of more sellout kind of vibe, hopefully. So, I mean.
Yeah. But you should still give us your money because you also get access to the newsletter, which very quietly does rock and people seem to enjoy. The Discord, which also does rock and we reference constantly. But if all you're interested in is these songs, well, I've got great news for you. Every one of them is going to be available in full on the 155 Bandcamp on Monday. And unlike last week when we picked a song that apparently no one liked, well, we've picked a real gem this time, haven't we?
We certainly have. And we're going to start off with our dear guest, Lyndsay. Pray for rain. And there's rain on the cover. Let's pray. Let's say a little quick prayer for rain. Let's not actually do that. But here's Gullet with Pray for Rain. We've heard Gullet before. Of course, that's Chris, Lyndsay, and Blair absolutely jamming on some tunes. I don't think we're going to get to the Henry Rollins part, but let's listen to the first minute of Pray for Rain by Gullet. Yeah. Well, I can hear rain. Prayers have been answered. Sounds a lot like the Ergs to me.
You know, what is a man if not a baby?
I mean, he thinks we're going to hear from a baby later, too. That it almost sounds like Melt Banana to me.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome.
That was so sick. Wow. And that's not just because
it does rock.
It's not just because it's our guest singing on there. Okay, up next.
Yeah, I'd like to imagine a world in which if it wasn't our guest, we would have been like, that one was terrible.
Yeah, that one fucking sucked. All right, up next is the Baggage Handlers. Wow, that's some cool art, actually. People coming through with the art this week, too. The Baggage Handlers featuring Georgia, Praying for Rain. Kind of a scrappy one this week to get back into the swing of things. Let's go. Oh, this rules. That's what I was saying earlier. This is a twee song. I mean, it's just a perfect twee song. And
yeah, it turns out that's like I feel like this is going to be a good covers episode.
I do too, and I also think we need more of Georgia singing all the time. I mean, musically that was sick as hell. Shout out to the Baggage Handlers, but we need more. I feel like every song should have Georgia singing on it for all of them.
That's the change that we're talking about in the future.
Exactly, it's just going to be Georgia doing a recap of the episode at the end, like in the streaming days. Okay, up next is Strings. Strings.
So in love with you, so I thought I'd try something new. Remember the silly song about just what your smile can do, but it's just not working out, and now I'm having my doubts. Seems like broken hearted love songs are what I'm all about. So I'm sorry from the smiles you've given to me. I just can't wait for the day when inevitably you say I'm not the guy you thought you knew. We had the talk and you'll regrettably inform me that you're taking a walk. I'm so in love, but I just don't know what to do. It seems I lose my inspiration when my heart's not unglued. So now I welcome back.
That's ridiculous.
It is incredible.
That did not have sand getting kicked on you energy at all.
No, that was like everyone is in the sand together enjoying it energy.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe
Sand for all.
Maybe the sand ain't so bad to kick around after all. Okay, up next is the Fake Plodes featuring Fake the This, Skank for Rain. That's a lot to take in for a band name, I think. But I'm going to just focus on that it says Skank.
Hard to read, and you reading it out loud didn't help.
Yeah, well, let's just hear this. Ooh.
Write a silly song about just what your smile can do, but it's just not working out, and now I'm having my doubts. It seems a broken-hearted love song's not what I'm all about. I'm sore from the smiles that you've given to me. I just can't wait for the day when inevitably you say I'm not the guy you thought you knew, and we have a talk, and you regrettably inform me that you're taking a walk. I'm so in love with you, but I just don't know what to do. It seems I lose my inspiration when my heart's gone unglued, and now I welcome the pain. Oh yeah, I'm praying for rain to bring some dark and cloudy sadness to this warm sunny day. Sore from the smiles that you've given to me. I just can't wait for the day when inevitably you say I'm not the guy you thought you knew, and we have a talk, and you regrettably inform me that we're taking a walk. And I could write you the perfect song, and you could sing along.
It's working.
Oh, yeah.
It's just working everywhere. It's firing on all cylinders, baby.
There's not a cylinder left unfired at this point.
Maybe it's because you were saying, I think it was so long ago, you were saying this was like, reminded you of like doo-wop music or something, or like old man
I
music.
basically said it was like a Tin Pan Alley Brill Building era pop song,
And
which
maybe
like
that's
I think
why.
I'm right.
Yeah, that's why, because it's like, I don't know. That's some old man shit I'm about to say. Like, that's the foundation of all pop. Who cares? I hate that we're old now. I hate that we've grown old together, Sam. It sucks.
Yeah, it's not. It's not sweet the way
It's not
made out to be in
bad,
the
but
movie.
it's not great. Unlike not growing old together, Baby Tyler. That wasn't so good.
Something new and write a silly song about just what your smile can do, but it's just not working out, and now I'm having my doubts. It seems a broken-hearted love songs are what I'm about. So while I'm sore from the smiles that you're giving to me, I just can't wait for the day when inevitably you say I'm not the guy you thought you knew, and we have to talk, and you'll regrettably inform me that you're taking a walk. So in love with you, but I just don't know what to do. Seems I lose my inspiration when my heart's not a glue.
Okay.
it.
I knew this was going to happen when we finally formalized that we were going to take a break from covers.
I know, right?
Like immediately, like,
and we didn't say it. It's not like all of these covers are so good because everyone knew that we were like we dropped in the Discord earlier today, right?
Yeah, that's true. Like it's just kind of
no one did this knowing this would be amongst the final cover sections. So, which makes it even more meaningful.
It really
that
it's
they rock.
Beautiful. It's like we didn't tell them what was happening, our inner turmoil. This next one is called The Talk, but the band name is in quotation marks. What's that about? The Talk. Oh, I know, because in the song they talk about having the talk, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Also, I don't think we talked about this, and I feel like I've been wanting to say this for a while, but like it's such an old man thing to care what record label someone was on and for that to be part of the identity of it or whatever. That's one thing I want to say, but also what label was who released this album? Like where is this band? What's the label situation?
It came out on two different versions. It was on like some like very indie like Whoa Records or whatever, and then John Giovanni put it out when it was like clearly a thing.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Whoa.
Wow. Because I was thinking the Ergs kind of reminds me of like Recess Records bands too, where it's like just cool. It's just like cool music that's kind of Ramonesy and kind of punk, but like there's something just cool about it too. Anyways,
the Unlovables were on Whoa. They're so sick.
Here's The Talk in quotation marks.
Who's this? The Ergs. Okay. I'm so in love with you, so I thought I'd try something new and write a silly song about just what your smile can do. But it's just not working out, and now I'm having my doubts. It seems like broken-hearted love songs are what I'm all about. So while I'm sore from the smiles that you've given to me, I just can't wait for the day when inevitably you say I'm not the guy you thought you knew when we have a quote.
I mean, that's The Talk right there, I think.
I feel talked to.
Up next, Teen Jazz. Since my taste in music is unabashedly Sam core, do you think that's a good... I mean, I feel like we've just abused the word, the suffix core so much at this point. Even Ramones core, I'm starting to think there's nothing core about it. But do you think Sam core is a good way to describe your people who like your kind of music?
Look, I thought it was good enough that it was my Last FM username, as you'll recall.
Oh, right, that's true.
Remember when I went and found a place that I've not scrabbled in so many years. But definitely, I found it to be a compelling enough concept.
I didn't. There's a reason that I didn't share my Last FM when we were talking.
What is
about
your Last
that.
FM?
I don't remember the username right now, thankfully, but I'm going to tell you who's one of my top artists because I was listening to this so much.
Yes, you can't share that.
So, Teen Jazz, Pray for Rain says, since my taste in music is unabashedly Sam core, I loved every Fest Month song. That being said, though, I think I'm ready to go back to mall punk again. When's the Bowling for Soup episode? That's a pretty good idea. Well, it is no theme burr next month, so we can do whatever we want for the final month of covers. So maybe Sam, I don't think I'm going to pick Bowling for Soup, but maybe I will. We'll see. Here we go. I thought he might come in with something that sounded like Bowling for Soup, but... There's like the Fest vocals, but then the music was very kind of, I don't know what it was, very indie. There was, in addition to being festy, there was a little bit of South by Southwest in there, I think, too, sprinkled in.
Ooh, yeah, totally. No, that was just like a real nice, it was just a nice vibe.
It really was. Thank you, Teen Jazz. Now, if we ever did do Bowling for Soup in No Theme Bird, the last month of covers, I wonder if Teen Jazz would submit like a fest version of a bowling. Is that what he's hoping to do?
Complicated.
That's interesting.
Was it Ivan who got the cameo from the Bowling for Soup guy when we ended Blink-155?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think we've been talking about Ivan too much lately, though.
Sorry, when you talk about Bowling for Soup, I mean, I couldn't be like, remember when we got the cameo that was the Bowling for Soup guy? Like, that would have been rude.
Yeah, that is true.
I'm sorry, like, I'm not proud of it. Also,
you could have said someone got us it. Like, just be more aloof, because I feel like Ivan is like a little kid who's just lapping up all this attention.
All right, can you just stop for a second? Stop recording.
Okay.
Remember when someone who knows who it could have been, it doesn't matter to me, got a cameo of us for the end of Blink-155?
Why did you say stop recording before you just said that?
Because I wanted you to like run it back and I'd re-record over it.
Oh, right, I see. Okay.
Yeah. You've erased the part where I gave credit to the unknown person.
Keep in mind, in this long night, we have just realized that I made a grave technical mistake and looking at about 3 hours of editing on.
I cannot believe you think it's only going to be 3 hours.
It is.
Like,
trust me.
Right before we started listening to covers, I realized that he all but erased everything we've been doing all night.
Well, I have the talking part, just none of the audio cues. So if you watch the Sclusy with Jeff. Watching Fest videos, see how well it lines up with the video. Because
I basically had to hand stitch the whole thing.
That's what I used to do with the pod, though. Keep in mind, this is all I ever do, Sam. Like, you have a rich life with friends and other activities, and this is all I'm ever doing anyway. So it's kind of normal to me, just like babysitting this machine that has gotten out of control. Up next, Shoes Robinson, Praying for Rain. She says, I've had to step away from pod stuff lately for mental health reasons, but I love the nation too much to not submit at least once during the official month of being arm in arm with her homies. Love you all. Well, we love you too, Shoes, and it's great to have you back. Cannot wait to be arm in arm with you, which I'm about to be right now. Once Shoes Robinson is not spending every week working on covers, I think LP2 from Shoes is going to be out of control.
Oh my God. This is so lovely. Shoes, man.
So now I welcome the pain. I'm praying for rain.
Shoes is so good at spoken word. Like, it's not even, that was incredible. Oh my God. Beautiful tones throughout. I would have expected nothing less, but I was still exceeded my expectations also. So am I contradicting myself by saying that, or am I just saying a sentence that makes sense and now overthinking it and I'm about to pass out from it?
I think that's it. I think you're thinking about all the work you're going to have to do after this. You also have a live stream coming up shortly.
Less than an hour. And I have to do Globe Health 2 episodes this week too. Anyways, up next is Cousin Walter, and unfortunately we do have to talk about Ivan again. This is Kevin, aka @BiggerKevin, on guitar, bass, and drums. First time contributor Ivan on vocals, and it was Ivan's birthday weekend, but that's not... It's like this is coming out on Wednesday night. Like, it's past Ivan's birthday weekend, and only I may talk about my birthday on the pod every week, right?
Yeah, no, you're the only birthday
This
boy.
is the most Ivan-y episode ever. Must be all the incel energy in it, I think.
I think that's it.
Here's Cousin Walter. So good. It sounds like those like early My Bloody Valentine singles where you're like Couldn't they just have stayed like this band the whole time? Incredible.
Yeah, that was so sick. I don't even know how you do that.
What?
Like, how do you make music that sounds that good? I just don't understand.
Like make everything really loud and feed it back and try to make it so you can barely hear the vocals, and I don't know. It's just keep adding more. Just layer up, baby. It's fall time to layer up.
I saw you on video earlier. You're like immaculately layered.
I am layered, and everyone will see that once I'm done editing the Sclusy. And
once you spend 8 hours editing the Sclusy, which now has video. If you want to see the coziest boy, please help Josiah out. Subscribe to Gatekeeper Plus, where you can see us on video, just earnestly talking about, Fest Warehouse shows.
What is my life? Birthday Pony empty folder. Pray for rain. Hey gang, been loving Fest month. I wanted to do more covers for it, but life stuff got in the way. Anyway, I saw Greet Death open for The World's a Beautiful Place recently and tried to do something Greet Deathy, but it kind of ended up more Julian Bakery. Good muffins there, I hear. That's pretty funny. I think we got to get those Greet Death boys back on the pod one day. Those guys are fucking...
That was fun. They were really fun.
Okay, so we're checking out Birthday Pony empty folder, 1 minute 14 in. This is so cool.
I mean, that is gorgeous, but yeah, definitely is making me wonder why I missed so many appointments, or however that song goes.
What's that? Is that a reference to something?
It's Julian Baker. Little Julian Baker tip of the hat there for the hats.
Julian Baker, isn't she in a band with Phoebe Guitar Breaker?
No, we got to move on. We should get Greet Death back on the pod, though.
Yeah, see, I was trying to remember what the records sound like because I do remember liking it, but I mostly remember them being giggly Michigan boys on the phone.
Yeah. Just three big time.
I think they should put out like a Jerky Boys style record on Death Wish instead, where they just prank call Jake Bannon. That would be so good.
Just ask him how he feels about.
Okay, look at these next two covers. One of them says,
we have not talked about the Jane Doe situation.
Oh my God, yeah. See, we need to start recording every night so we can talk on more topical things, I think.
It's true.
But look at these next two. This one says, one of them says, thanks to Todd Killings for the drummies. The next one is from Todd Killings. It says, I accidentally submitted just drums earlier. So Todd Killings' drums are all over the place. This one's called Rich Nimby, featuring Todd Killings. Rich Nimby is a really funny name. I feel like that could be a good rapper. Rich Nimby.
Rich Nimby is fucking awesome.
Here's Rich Nimby with Todd Killings' like abundant drums, apparently. Here we go. Yeah. Man, this song is so sick, and it sounds so good no matter how it's recorded or produced.
It is perfect in every context. That was so great. I was sort of hoping that was going to be like ignorant rap somehow from Rich Nimby.
With maybe Todd Killings' drums could have been like trap drums or something.
Exactly.
Well, let's hear what Todd Killings' drums sound like with Althea Later. This is Todd Killings featuring Althea Later, Pray for Rain. We're starting 45 seconds in. Now these are different drums, right? Than the rich.
These are different. Those are different.
So sick.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. I wonder how many other Todd Killings drums we're going to get on here.
Well, I think we should maybe just briefly listen to the accidental submission of just the drums. Number 13. This is Todd Killings and Althea later. Who would have guessed? Now, what's interesting is the one before is 310, and this one that's just the drums is 247. So that's kind of something to think about.
1, 2, 3.
I mean, this is sick. While I introduce the next one, I'm just going to...
Yeah, just let me play it in the background.
Wait, what the fuck? This isn't just the drums? That's so cool. But now there's one.
That's very sick.
We don't check these before we start. The next submission, that's 4 in a row. This one is Todd Killings, Pray for Rain. And it says, I think my iPad is dead.
So that's the problem? Is that what we're experiencing here? Is just the death of Todd Killings' iPad?
It's like every draft or every separate track of the song has been uploaded to the...
Yeah. Are we going to get the...
See, this one's just the...
This is definitely just the...
Okay, so hang on. I think we actually did... The reason we were hearing this is the intended Todd Killings and Althea later. Then there's also Todd Killings... No, that doesn't make sense. Either way, I mean, this has been a real journey through the mind of Todd, and I've loved every second of it.
Through the iPad, the dying iPad of Todd.
And I assume that's Althea with the weird cut-up vocals. Sounds sick as hell.
Yeah, that sounded fucking awesome.
Okay, up next, 20th Century, Pray for Rain.
So in love with you, so I thought I'd try something new. Write a silly song about just what your smile can do. But it's just not working out. Now I'm having my doubts. Seems that broken-hearted love songs are what I'm all about. So while I'm sore from the smiles that you're giving to me, I just can't wait for the day when inevitably you say I'm
This is insane.
you thought you knew when we had the time, and you regret
Look, the song is perfect, and this is an insanely cool way of approaching it.
This has some...
So in love with you, but
Oh, that has some Whitney energy to me, I think. That's some... I'll buy some enamel pins and candles while a boutique is playing that in the background. Hell yeah. On my millennial... My millennial homemaker shit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's so good. All right. Brainhead the Worst, Pray for Rain. So this is Pray for Rain, but it's two of the words are spelled differently. Now, you could have made the 4 also F-O-U-R, but it's P-R-E-Y for R-E-I-G-N. It's kind of a real dominating energy. Pray for Rain. There's some art here we should check out too, because of course Braindead the Worst is an insanely sick artist.
That's fucking tight cover, yeah.
Yeah, that's scary. Okay, here we go. And the caption says, "It is dark, cold, and wet. We are already fucking dead." I don't think those are in the song, are they? This is kind of a different sort of...
I feel like you're taking a different route here.
Yeah, I think so. This is the song. I can hear that.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of barbershop. So sick.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Pierre Bouvier and his personal toilet is the next one. I wonder, do you think this will actually be Pierre Bouvier?
I hope it at least is an actual personal toilet.
Healthy rider, healthy bowel. So this has nothing to do. Hopefully this is a cover of the song at least, featuring fiance of the pod Yams with the creation of a drum track. Sorry, I secretly got you to collab with me on a breakup song the week we are getting hitched. Aw, congrats.
Oh, yeah.
This is Ergs final, it says. So this is a real cover of the Ergs. I think Pierre Bouvier is probably already married, I would assume. Probably to like an E-Talk Daily web host or something. Like probably like couldn't you say Pierre Bouvier being married to like a Canadian micro celeb?
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. It took me a second to figure out who Pierre... Okay, the Simple Plan guy is Pierre Bouvier. Pierre Bouvier. There's no... Oh, personal life. Let's see.
I'm so in love with you, so thought I'd try something like silly song about just...
It's kind of that classic Simple Plan sound.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was fucking amazing.
I feel like
I do wish that's what Simple Plan sounded like. I didn't hear the toilet though. I'm wondering where the toilet is.
Maybe it happens at the end.
Oh, it's a reference to the rider. Sorry, it took me a second.
Of course, last week we had the Simple Plan.
Healthy rider, healthy bowel. This is all just taking me so long to get to it.
It's been a confusing week, and of course, keep in mind I am on my 5th edit of this episode at this point as well. So
Pierre Bouvier, you did share on the Discord the full Simple Plan rider, which included Pierre Bouvier having access to a personal toilet. Hence the band name. Okay, sorry everybody.
Sorry,
that's a good joke.
Folks.
That's really good.
Oh boy, some of those Simple Plan guys really had to they got in some trouble recently, and during the recording of this pod, it looks like the band All Time Low also is kind of in some trouble. I don't feel confident to comment too much about it, but I have seen some shit going down with the band All Time Low. So maybe Simple
Perhaps
Creatures.
it's not just a clever name anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what I'm thinking. The Golden Umbrella Stance, Pray for Rain. So happy I had time to submit this week. I've been getting into stand-up these past 2 months, which is about as embarrassing to say out loud as it is to do on stage, and I haven't had much time to record as a result. Wow, what a pivot. Well, either way, welcome back to music, the Golden Umbrella Stance. Unless this is a stand-up set about the song, which could be kind of cool too. Let's find out. Not very funny. Mostly just sounds really good.
That was fucking awesome.
The way that it's like kind of all blown out, it feels like a tape that went through the wash, but it's like I don't know. It just feels like the way that it's hidden. It feels so unattainable, but you just want to listen closer and try to hear everything and kind of be like. I just wish I was seeing that band live while I was listening to it. It's so beautiful. So
yeah, totally.
So many layers because it's layer season, baby. Unentitled. Pray for Stained frontman Aaron Lewis. He makes right-wing propaganda music now. So taking some shots at Stained.
Coming for Stained here in the cover section of the pod.
At the top of the third hour of the Ergs episode. Hopefully Stained frontman Aaron Lewis isn't listening because he will be.
He typically does.
He typically does. Here we go. Is this what Stained sounds like?
Yeah.
Sick as all hell. Maybe being right wing ain't so bad.
Hey, you get these kind of vibes? If these are right wing vibes, then I'm not this interested.
This is so cool. Sounds like a Night Court remix of a Sigur Rós song.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, that was amazing.
All right, we're down to our final two. The final two covers of Fest Month. Sam, how has it felt for you?
I think ending with both a really, really objectively fantastic song, but also what has felt like 8 hours of podcasting that I now know is going to lead to another 8 hours of you having to edit it feels perfect, right? Where it was kind of glorious and beautiful.
I think
also,
I've caught a cold during the recording of this episode. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Penultimately, Burnt Lands with Pray for Rain. No caption, no bull, just Burnt Lands. There's a
no cap.
There's album art that is a screenshot of Henry Rollins because of course if you remember about 7 hours ago we talked about that. Here we go.
So I thought I'd try something new and write a silly song about just what your smile can do. But it's just not working out, and now I'm having my doubts. It seems that broken-hearted love songs are what I'm all about. So while I'm sore from the smiles that you've given to me, I just can't wait for the day when inevitably you say I'm not
this is so sick. Great walking around vibes.
I'm so in love with you, but I just don't know what to.
Imagine just strutting around with that on in the old cans. That'd be so sick.
I would strut with that in the cans for sure.
All right, I'm worried about this one because this is Shawn Mendes' lawyer's best friend closing us out. Known goofball sometimes, but also this was submitted I think within 10 minutes of us saying what song we were doing. So,
okay, well, it's interesting.
Yeah, so here we go. This is the final cover of Fest Month. Let's go.
I'm so in love with you, so I thought I'd try something new. Write a silly song about just what your smile can do, but it's just not working out, and now I'm having
just a breezy guitar style.
Just a nice little ditty. What a pleasant surprise. Oh. It's a great little turn.
And that's Pray for Rain.